Hi everyone, and welcome to my interpretation of RPG A Day 2021, wherein I talk or give a few thoughts about a prompt word on this calendar that we have to use, developed by the people who, for the 8th year, have done this project. Originally I intended it to be like one take, but things are malleable. I've added recaps, I've added callbacks, so here we go. I'm going to have the great pleasure of playing in a game run by Joe Salvatore of Raven God Games, so I hooked up with them the other day to make my character. So I created a shaman. His name is Askold the Lame. He is Hibernian. So Reaver, just very briefly, and there will be a quick start coming out, is historical fantasy, sword and sorcery, early Iron Age with a lot of Dark Age tropes. So it sounds really cool, and I'm going to be really happy to participate in part of the playtest. So it definitely looks, I don't know all the rules exactly, but it's definitely has a D&D backbone. I rolled my stats: strength, dex, con, intelligence, wisdom, charisma. I rolled really well. I've got a 15, 9, 15, 14, 17, and 15. So all rolled in front of Joe virtually. So it was pretty cool. And I just actually, since I'm playing a shaman, I just did him down the line as the D&D guides intended. So I filled out all the other things. He's getting us to second level, so you can add a attribute or a point to our attribute. So I added to wisdom since I'm a shaman. And that gives me some cool feat dice. So my feat dice are D8s for the 15s, D6 for the 9, and then a D10 for the wisdom. I guess that helps us to do special things with our powers. We can choose one career that we've gone through by first level, and I chose aesthetic. So I am sort of a hermit who does, abstinence, bodily suffering, self-inflicted punishment. I explained the 9 by he has a birth defect that's a partially withered leg. So then I have my class abilities as well. I'm a shaman. So it looks like I have faith, patron, deity, probably the spirits of our ancestors, the totem. It could be an animal spirit or a nature spirit as well. I haven't quite decided, so I'll probably decide that we can play. I can heal. I can craft talismans. I can have some spell casting, and I have sorcery that I can cast as well. So I probably will do like this. Looks like the shamans can use spears and shields, so that's probably what I'll go with. He's Hibernian, which Joe described as sort of a Celtic Germanic hybrid. So we're going with that. So he has an ash spear, and then he took a couple spells, and I took a Beseech Ancestor and Induce Sleep. I'm really interested in how the spells work. Spells have there's a main spell, and it looks like there's a couple spells underneath that can either be rituals or like combat cast spells. So I think it's a pretty neat looking system, and I'm looking forward to play. So look for that. Reaver by Raven God Games, written by Joe Salvatore, who you might know from Eldritch Tales. He created that, and if you play Hyperborea, he also wrote Forgotten Fane of the Coiled Goddess. So Reaver coming to I guess drive-through RPG near you. Man, it is 5 in the morning, but I guess I'm still full of adrenaline, and I couldn't really sleep. So mainly because I'm thinking about what's going to happen next in our Twilight 2000 campaign. So Joe Salvatore says he does listen to the Twilight 2000 recaps, so that's kind of cool too. So here we go. We're going to try to recap it. So in the last adventure, the players had set up base camp, had started creating fuel, and are filling up as best they can using all the organic material they have to fuel up their APC. a group of them went towards a town to see what was going on, maybe get supplies, especially get medical supplies, since they had also found a convoy, an American convoy that had been ambushed, or the remains, and there were 4 survivors. So they patched them up as best they can, but they needed to do a blood transfusion on one of them, who they miraculously saved. Overnight doing surgery, they had internal bleeding. So Kasha and Sam saved this person who we named as a Sergeant Justine Bennett, or Barrett. Anyway, so they head to the town, but the town, there's a surprise when they get to the town in a way. They can't just waltz in and ask for supplies. There's a Soviet tank and a Soviet transport vehicle that looks like it's been converted to an ambulance. It's a GAZ-66, and while they watch from the hills, the forest-covered hills, some POWs are unloaded and put into like a school gymnasium. Kasha kind of goes down and sidles in to blend in with the locals, sells herself as a nurse/doctor to help with the prisoners. She discovers they have typhoid, but the Soviets don't want to give them antibiotics. Even though there's plenty of medical supply, her goal is to get blood typing equipment and the equipment to do a blood transfusion. So she's able to do that, get some intel, goes back towards the woods where she's confronted and stopped by, or questioned by, some Soviet troops on patrol. She leads them into the woods where the other players and her kill them. So they throw their bodies in the truck and take off back to camp. When they get to camp, Kasha is able to do a successful transfusion onto their patient, and type as many, well, fortunately on the dog tags there are blood types, so she's able to type it correctly and get the right blood type to their patient, and then to discuss what to do. And the decision is made to go back to town to rescue the POWs. So the people that go back are Kasha, Tops, and Grunts, whose player characters were there. Jason and Arlen couldn't make it, but Jason said we could use his character Sam, so Sam tags along, and since Jonesy is an NPC and is a buddy of Kasha, he tags along with Sam, just in case. So they all load into the back of the truck. Jonesy drives his motorcycle, and they head to town. Then Kasha, they get to town at night. They kind of recon the area, see what's there, learn the size of the force, but they decide to wait until morning. Kasha does sneak back into town and is able to convince, it looks like what they've gotten a doctor from the Polish Home Guard, or it looks like the Soviets have recruited a couple members of the Polish Home Guard, both a guard type, MP type, and a doctor. So Kasha convinces them that she's from town, or she's here to help. And maybe the doctor's skeptical, but he needs the help because he has 12 patients, 4 of which have typhoid, 1 of which is getting worse. And the Soviets have prevented the use of antibiotics. But Kasha actually convinces the doctor to, for humanitarian reasons, to go against that. So, and then also takes a rest because it sounds like they all have radios, so they're able to communicate. Kasha goes out and has a smoke, gets a lay of the land, reports that back to the people, and the plan is for them to kind of, wait the full day, wait till evening to do something, and it works out for them because, so 2 Soviet troops are missing. They're believed to be deserters. They haven't found any evidence of anything, so they send a patrol of 3 out into the woods to find them, or to see what's going on. Those guys, I rolled in front on the table, and those guys get lost in the woods. Jonesy and Sam decide to track them, make sure they don't cause any problems. Plus, they're sort of NPC'd, so we don't have to really worry about them. It could be narrative, and I'll explain that at the end. So the other guys kind of rest, get ready for an evening type attack. They wait until, so the tank during the day is also like driving around town, but at night they park, in the evening they park it. They wait till after all the Soviet soldiers do their guard change and have a meal, and they leave importantly, they leave a person in the tank. There are 2 guards walking around the gym where the POWs are held, and then the driver of the gas 66 has been commandeered to do some guard duty. They know that there's a sniper in one of the towers, but from if the plan goes accordingly, the sniper can't get a bead on them for where the truck is at. So here's what happens. So Kasha's in the gym running interference. There is an argument between the Polish MP and the Polish doctor about whether or not, why we are retreating, if we're going to get in trouble. Kasha mitigates that argument and at least prevents the Polish MP from calling the Soviets. Meanwhile, Tops sneaks into town and Grunts positions himself so he has a good bead on anything that's going on in the parking lot where the gas 66 is stationed. Tops takes out one of the Soviet guards that's patrolling around the gym. It goes really quiet. He positions himself by the door, pings Kasha. Kasha convinces the Polish MP to let's go take a walk and talk to the Soviet commander directly. So he agrees. When he steps outside, they knife him as well. So they've taken care of 2 guards very quietly. The other guard is sort of walking around. He stops and talks to the driver of the truck, and then but Grunts has an eye on him. So once they get inside, then the Polish doctor, of course, freaks out and tries to complain, but they don't want to kill him. They in fact take him prisoner. He capitulates and says, "Okay, I'll go." But he's really concerned about his family in town, so that might come back. So Grunt's seeing that the other Soviet soldier who's patrolling is going to spot the bodies. Actually, he spots the body and is about to radio in, but Grunts takes him down with a single shot. Then we go into combat and initiative. The jig is up, and the guys in the Kasha and Tops where the prisoners are in the gym try to get them to quickly move into the truck. Fortunately, there's a couple drivers among that POW group. My cat says hi. And then they start loading him up. Grunts takes care of the driver, the Soviet driver, puts another M16 round into him. Of course, the rest of the Soviets in town hear the gunfire, so they're on alert. They had brought one of the people they had rescued from the ambush with them, who was able, and had given him a machine or an AK-74 that they had lifted from the Soviet troops that they had killed previously, and he was watching the tank area to prevent people from getting into the tank, because they had left like one person in the tank to guard it, but not really to run the tank. So as there was another guard there on station where the tank was at, near where the tank was at. So that guy, his name is I think it's a PFC Rollins. He opens up with the AK-74, takes down a guard, and pings bullets off the tank. So Grunts gets into position and also fires down the line as the tank crew starts running towards their vehicle, but hits one and is able to suppress them. They failed their coolness under fire, getting shot at from 2 different angles and one person getting injured. So they hit the deck, and by that time the group has all the POWs in, even the one who is pretty badly infected with typhoid. He coughs on Tops a couple times, but Tops is a tough man and probably will not get sick based on the role. So they take off. Tops gives the order to fall back. Grunts grabs. He had moved into town to get a better shot on the tank crew, and he grabs the equipment of one of the people that he took down, and then runs towards the hills. And so Rollins and Grunts get picked up. The captain, I think I named him Captain Ilvanovich, is kind of pissed, and he decides that he is going to order the tank crew jump on the tank, grab his sergeant, and they're going to go after these people who killed his men. So in a way, we stopped then when the guys are heading back in the direction of camp. They don't know if they're going to go to camp, but they know they can hear the diesel engine of the tank chugging up, and it sounds like it's going to pursue them. So meanwhile, Jonesy and Sam off camera dealt with the patrol. I just had them roll a few times, and they rolled successes with complications, and 2 complications. So I had a couple complications occur. Yes, they were able to make enough successes to take out the patrol, but the patrol was able to fire back. Jonesy was injured, and Sam, not wanting to linger, grabbed Jonesy, and they didn't recover the 3 rifles that the Soviets have, so they lost the loot, and 1 person got injured. But then they kind of are going to be able to meet up. They jump in the truck, or throw the bike in the back of the truck and jump in and start heading to rendezvous with the stolen Soviet ambulance truck. So that's where we stopped. We'll see how they do with the tank in pursuit, what they want to do. So now I got to look up things on vehicles and night fighting and little minutiae of rules like that. There's a few times where I had to look up a lot of the rules. I am just amazed at how quick and deadly combat goes in this game. So, so that's Twilight 2000. Thought it went really well. There's a good plan. It was relatively well executed. There were a couple stumbles. It took longer, I think, for them to get the POWs in and the truck, but hey, no casualties. Well, only one casualty and only an injury, so pretty lucky. Oh, as another aside, Ronson and Diaz stayed behind with the camp in the APC. I don't know if I mentioned that, but Ronson to give Overwatch, because they still have this cannibal prisoner, right? Alleged cannibal prisoner. And then they have 3 injured American troops. So Diaz is making sure that the transfusion goes well, and then keeping the camp in order. And Ronson is watching. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Day 31 of RPG A Day 2021. It's the last day. The prompt word is thank. I have a lot of people to thank. Thank you, first of all, the listeners who have hopefully, maybe, probably listened every day for the last 31 days to my little snippets, some longer than others, and have listened probably to other podcasts during this month-long journey of ours through RPG A Day 2021. Thank you so much to the callers who have encouraged me and contributed to the content. I will try to name all of them and thank them. Jason Connerly of Nerds RPG Variety Cast, Arlen Walker of Live from Pelham's Wasteland, Joe Richter from Hindsightless, Colin Green from Spike Pit, BJ Boyd from The Arcade Alienist, Barry Dicker from Loco Ludus, Spencer Freethrall from Keep Off the Borderlands, Anthony Runeslinger Boyd from Casting Shadows, and I believe that my wife Amy has called in, and I thank her tremendously for joining me in this hobby and encouraging me to continue something that I really like and enjoy. I would definitely like to thank the GMs in the games that I play in, namely Jason Connerly, Arlen Walker, and Kevin Madison of the Dungeon Musings Media Empire. I don't know if I played. Oh, I should thank also Joe Salvatore of Raven God Games as well, who I'm going to be joining in a game, and I've played in his games before. And Colin Green actually did GM for me one time long ago. Jason Hobbs of Hobbs and Friends, and Random Screed, who got me back into at least into the virtual community of gaming through the Audio Dungeon Discord and other platforms. Eric Salzwiedel is another person that GM'd for me for a while with his games. So I think it was Solar Blades and Cosmic Spells that we ran for a while. So thank you to, I'm sure I missed a couple and I apologize. I thank you to my players. A lot of those people that I named are also playing my games. I definitely want to thank my home crew, who may or may not listen. I'm not sure. They might listen to recaps here and there. But to the home crew that I run, mostly now Starfinder and our Warhammer Fantasy game on Thursday, but we run a lot of games and have a lot of fun. So, who else can I thank? Well, David Chapman and Anthony Boyd, of course, who have started this initiative again. This is the 8th year that they've hosted hashtag RPG a Day. It's been pretty fun. It's my first time participating other than listening last year and the year before. But this is really nice. I'm glad that David Chapman of Autocratic, and I mentioned Anthony Rinsinger Boyd, who does his Casting Shadows podcast. So thank you for putting this thing on, and we'll be here again next year. Take care. One last thing I wanted to say. Players, thank your GMs. Don't forget about them. They put in a lot of work to give you the enjoyment that you do, maybe weekly or bi-weekly. And GMs, thank your players, because without them, well, you wouldn't be playing the game that we so cherish and enjoy. So, have a good one. It won't be daily anymore, maybe hopefully twice weekly, probably once weekly for my podcast on a regular basis. So, talk to you all soon.